folks, welcome to Legacy IAS. In today's video, we're looking at a very interesting concept. As the title states, how 200 years of Indian history got interlinked and led to one massive event. Now let's see what is the 200 years of Indian history, okay? What are those events that led to one massive event and what is that event, okay? And how is it affecting or is it at all affecting us right now in the contemporary 2022 or your 21st century, okay? Let's enter into the video. The advent of British in India was August 24, 1608. Again, debated whether good or bad. No, the debation is not good or bad. Being August 24th is a good date, and the debate is whether was it good, was it not good. Juvenile stuffs. Okay. So one event, the first event we will be discussing about is your Carnatic War. Most importantly, your second Carnatic War is where we'll lay stress on. If you look at the timeline of this, it is somewhere between 1749 and 1754. Okay. So Carnatic is a region in southern part of India where a war was fought. What was it fought for? In Carnatic, there was this person called Chanda Sahib. Okay. Now he took support of French, okay, and there was this person called Anvaruddin, also in Karnataka. He took support of EIC, nothing but the English East India Company, okay. For what was this for? They took help of these people for what? So that they could gain power and become, rulers or nawabs or basically come into power, okay. Now we said Karnataka is a place in India. Yeah, southern part of India, somewhere around the time of 1749, 1754. Now, this person, Chanda Sahib or Anvaruddin, is a native to Indian land. Okay. Now, if they have to establish power in India, why are they taking help of a foreign force or a European power? Remember during the period of time, somewhere we said 1600s they entered India. Yeah. If 1600s they entered India in the name of trade, they asked us, by us we mean local rulers, for permission. Yeah. They took permission from local rulers to set up their trading depots, to set up their forts, to trade in India. They had to take permission. The European powers had to take permission from the local rulers. Okay, now the point of time, just 100 years later, 1600 to 1700, the times have changed to an extent that the role is reversed. Now the rulers are taking help from the European powers to establish themselves as rulers. This happened in a period of 100 years. Okay, let's just keep it aside. Okay, so let's just keep it aside. Let's move on further. Okay, now this person, this Chanda Sahib, from now on listen to it like a piece of story. Okay, now this person, Chanda Sahib, he has taken help of French. Anvaruddin has taken French of British. Okay, now this guy Chanda Sahib and French, they plot together and now they tell, dude, let's kill this Anvaruddin guy. Okay, now then they kill Anvaruddin. Okay, Anvaruddin's son Muhammad Ali, he leaves and flees to Tiruchinapalli. Okay, now indicating Anvaruddin is dead, his son has fled to Tiruchinapalli, so they believe that Carnatic is now under the hands of Chanda Sahib and French. Okay, this is one case. This is happening in Carnatic around this period of time. Okay. Now in Hyderabad around the same time, Nizam ul Mulk, okay, the founder of Hyderabad, he has died. His son and his grandson, his son being Nasir Jung and his grandson being Muzaffar Jung, are fighting for the throne. Okay. Under this scenario, local rulers, they want to come to power. The period is 1700s. What are they doing? They are going and asking for help from European powers. In this case, in 1600, okay, these people had to take permission from them. In just 100 years, they are taking permission from them. Irony. Is it though? But now Muzaffar Jung, okay, and the French are aligned together Nazir Jung and the EIC or your East India Company is aligned together. Okay. Now these two people, French and EIC, see this guy and this guy fight fine, they will get territories, they will get power. Why are these two powers at playing here? They are simply not going to waste their energies, they are simply not going to waste their resources. They will do this only with one ultimate goal or multiple ultimate goals. Yeah. One could be political ambition or could be more and more resources they will be getting, right? Now, in a battle that ensued, Nasir Jung got killed. Okay, which meant the EIC supporting Nasir Jung gets killed here. The Anwaruddin supported by EIC also gets killed here. So somewhere EIC in the story of as of we are now seems like the British is kind of on the losing side and French is on the victory side. Okay, so this condition, that's what it says here, both in Carnatic as well as Hyderabad, the status quo of Duplay, who was the governor at that point of time, his position raised because the strength and victory seemed more leaning towards the French side. Yeah. One thing in history is that you can never be too certain of anything. You can never be too sure of victory. You can never be too sure of failure. Okay. Any time it can change anyway. And thus happens here also. With the entry of Robert Clive, which changed the Second Carnatic War. Now he comes up with a plan. Okay. He comes up with a plan stating that let's seize Tiruchirappalli. That is, let's reduce some pressure that is there on Tiruchirappalli. Why Tiruchirappalli? Because Anwaruddin's son Muhammad Ali has fled here. Now they have twofold aspects. One is rescue and release Muhammad Ali. Okay. Second thing, gain back Carnatic. Okay, gain back Karnataka. For that, they realized that you have to lay siege to Tiruchirappalli, free this place, free Muhammad Ali, and then you lay siege to Arcot. See now this place, Tiruchirappalli. You're French, alright, and it's Nawab. Who's new Nawab? Carnatic's new Nawab. This is Carnatic. Let's assume this. Okay, this is Carnatic. This is Tiruchirappalli. This is French. This is Chanda Sahib. Okay. Now they are waiting for this guy, Muhammad Ali. English is here. Yes, is twofold. Save this guy, gain this place. Okay, simple. So the then clerk Robert Clive tells that to free this zone, to free this guy, let's lay siege or let's go capture Arcot. Okay. Now you might ask, people are here, the person to be rescued is here, why capture this place? See, if Arcot is captured, okay, Arcot is the capital of Carnatic. The Nawab of Carnatic, being Chanda Sahib, will now rush to save his capital with his forces. So half of the pressure here gets relieved. That time, this people can, release him, capture this place. They kill this guy, make this guy the king. Okay. So what victory was eminent on the French side now shifted to the English side. Understanding? That is the thing here. Chanda Sahib was back in Carnatic when they laid siege to Arcot. He captured Carnatic, killed Chanda Sahib. Muhammad Ali becomes the Nawab of Arcot and thus Nawab of Carnatic. Now the person who has sanctioned the rulership in Carnatic is now your EIC. Okay, EIC for the first time who came in as traders in 1600s. In 1700s, they are the deciders as to who is to rule a piece of land. Okay, this is a change of 100 years. Understanding? Now, what was the outcome of your second Carnatic war? War very French. French was also having heavy losses. British was also having losses. India was having more the losses. Okay. Now, on the French side, they decided to call Dupleix back the governor. Both sides agreed not to involve the quarrels of native princes. Yeah. Result is both ended with the possessions they began. Okay. This Carnatic is one event that began and ended. We saw that. Okay. Separate. Now, let's look at the next one. 1857 revolt. Somewhere in 1750s we were. Now we have skipped a century later to an revolt, 1857 revolt, 100 years later. Okay, we'll see how it pans out. Also known as Sepoy Mutiny or Indian Mutiny, or the Great Rebellion, Revolt of 1857, Indian Resurrection, and First War of Independence. All the names it is called. Okay. Now, the rebellion began on 10th May 1857 in the form of mutiny of sepoys in Meerut. Okay. After the outbreak of the mutiny, rebels reached Delhi, claimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as the Emperor of Hindustan. Okay, 1857, people still run back to Delhi, still proclaim Bahadur Shah Zafar a Mughal emperor as the empire or the emperor of Hindustan, indicates the effect that the long-standing Mughal empire had on India. Okay, now many Indians rose against the British because majority of the Indian population in different ways, in different walks, were affected by British colonial policies and acts. Okay? However, many also fought for the British. When you say for anything, there are pros and cons. Even for this, people, there were a section of people who fought with the British. There were a section of people who fought against the British. Okay? Now, what was the outcome of this Sepoy mutiny or revolt? Okay. The rebellion took on the attributes of a patriotic revolt. Overtones of nationalisms could be seen here. Led to the dissolution of East India Company. The High Horse, which came in around 1600, ended in 1857. Almost 250 years later, EIC came to an end formally. It ended way back in 1833 itself. But it took us another couple of years to bury that. Okay. Forced the British to reorganize the army, financial system, and administration. Now the British had to become very careful, extra careful if they had to rule. Now the British had to become extra careful if they had to rule ahead. Okay. Thus giving them another 100 years of lifeline. 1857, whatever changes they did, that gave them a lifeline for another 100 years. Yeah. Next, passage of the Government of India Act 1858, rule of British crown on the Indian subcontinent. Yeah. Also called Crown Rule in India or the Direct Rule in India. Okay, basically your 1857, 1773, your Regulating Act itself. British Parliament was in control, not complete control, as the name states, it was regulating the acts of EIC in India. But somewhere the eye of British was there as long from 1773 itself in a direct form or indirect form, whatever you call it. But 1857 onwards, it is a complete direct rule. Okay, thus begins the rule of British Raj in India. Okay. Now look at this. There are two separate events of history, two separate outcomes. They didn't have any direct connection with each other. How is it having any major links or how is it affecting? Now, yeah, we know both those events are 200 years in making. 100 years for the first one, 100 years for the second one. Yeah, but how is it linked? How is it having any effect on whatever we said? One major event. And what is that major event? Let's look at that in the next class. Okay.